Hello, and welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, the strategies, and the insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today, I'm very lucky to be joined by Dawn of Graceful Transitions Advising. How's it going, Dawn?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm super excited to have you here. And I know we were talking a little bit before this, but I'd love to just understand a little bit more about your background, Don, and a little bit more about graceful transitions.
I actually started my career as a director of merchandising for 25 years, but unfortunately, my dad was diagnosed with dementia at 65. So when he was diagnosed, we had to look for memory care for him. And throughout that time, I had realized that there really wasn't a whole lot of help for people to find memory care and things like that. And it really led me to believe that there needed to be more help for people out there. So I decided to start helping friends and family just find places, do research, and I'm a big researcher. So I started to look at places and figure out what people's rights were and what you needed to know. And it brought me to this area of senior advising, where I felt like the more you knew and the better you felt about it and the more empowered you were, then you could go into some of these places and get past salespeople and really know what you needed to know so that you could put your loved one in the right place.
Yeah, wow, what an amazing story. I'm sorry to hear that about your dad, but it launched this incredibly amazing business that you're so passionate about, which is awesome, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And navigating senior care options, whether it's in-home care, transitioning to a facility, or funeral planning, it's overwhelming for families, right? So, what are the most common mistakes or misconceptions that people have when they start this process?
I think a lot of people don't realize really how many choices there are, right? So you have the big brands out there, which I think a lot of people assume big brand, really great care, which that's not necessarily the answer, right? Some of the little smaller brands that you've never heard of are some of the best care you can find, right? They're locally owned. Some of those places have the longevity in some of their staff members. So I think some of that stuff is what you need to look for. I think people don't know what to look for when it comes to red flags. No, really, it's red flags. So it's red flags, knowing what to look for. What are the red flags? What do I see when I walk in? Are their employees happy? Is it clean? Are there weird smells? Are there more employees out there? I've been to places where I haven't seen one staff member, right? But they're telling me here's the ratio of staff to resident, but I haven't seen one staff member. Do the residents look happy? This is all stuff that you want to see. They tell me that there's activities, but I don't see any activities happening. So it's stuff like that that I think is really important that when people go on their own, I think they go in with this idea. A lot of people go in with the idea of, oh, I want it to be this big brand new building. That's not always the answer, right? If it's brand new, people don't really assume that brand new means new staff. It means they all have to learn. Some of the older, maybe not so beautiful buildings, they're all there. They've been there forever. They know what they're doing. So it's getting past that stuff. And an advisor is there to really tell people, hey, these are the things you need to look for. You got to get past some of that stuff. Or if you're looking for your parents, people are looking for things that look like their home. But if you go to your parents' home, 9 times out of 10, they don't have gray cabinets and granite, right? It's your parents' home. It's what you grew up in. Our parents don't remodel for the most part. So they want it to feel like home. So a lot of these senior living places are going to feel and look like your parents' home. And that's what they should be. It
Mhm.
shouldn't be looking like your home.
Yeah,
But the adult children are looking for places for their parents, so they look for places that look like their houses. So
yeah.
it's just stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So my family actually had an assisted living facility for a very long time, and I worked at that facility for a very long time as well, helping with the marketing and whatnot. And I can totally resonate with what you're saying. I think that those are things that are red flags, especially if your staff is unhappy. And I remember finding good staff being it was a challenge. You know what I mean? I think in those types of like in facilities and whatnot, it's hard to find staff that you can truly keep happy. I think that's a part as much as it is keeping your residents happy as well. Because when you've got happy staff, they take better care of the residents. And that's obviously the utmost importance.
Yep. Exactly. And it's little things like if it's noon and everybody's rooms aren't clean, right? Like what's going on? Are they cleaning people? Are they cleaning their rooms? That stuff should be happening. It should be on a schedule, right? So is the food smell good? It's stuff food is really exciting to people who are in assisted living and memory care, right? That's their big thing for the day. If it doesn't smell good and it doesn't look good, that's a red flag too. So there's
Yeah.
just all kinds of things that people don't look at when they go on their own. That's really important. I go in and actually have a whole list of questions that I've already asked for people before they even go. So I go to every community before I even suggest them to any of my clients. And I have a whole list of questions so they don't have to worry about that. Basic questions, but then some more in-depth questions between ratios of how many staff to residents, any of their medication questions, all of the things that clients may not know to ask that I give them ahead of time so they don't feel like they have to come in with a million questions up front. They
Yeah.
can read those questions beforehand and then they can actually add to it if they have to.
Wow. Yeah, that's what a great service. And I feel like marketing something like this is probably an interesting challenge because you're talking to a lot of adult children and they a lot of times have to be in the market. And sometimes they don't even have to be in the market. It's a lot of times they don't even know that they're in the market yet. You know what I mean? And so, how have you gone about building the business? How have you gone about getting the word out?
A lot of times the word comes from, believe it or not, like somebody's at a baseball game or a soccer game and we're adult children. And a lot of my friends, they have aging parents just like I do. And so a lot of times they'll start talking to each other and they say, hey, my parent is going through this, and it comes through a referral system like that. But I have a high school kid, and he told me, hey mom, you got to get on TikTok. And I was like, I don't like TikTok, but I have to get on there. And so just doing videos, and I do a lot of videos that actually have a lot of information for people, information people don't know, things about, hey, there's VA benefits that people have no idea. Was your dad a veteran? You have a ton of benefits that you can get that can
Oh,
help your parents, mom and dad, both, right? I like to put a lot of information out there for people because even adult children, they have no idea when they come to me all the things that they can get, right? From a benefit standpoint, or even a lot of adult children come to me and their parents don't even have a power of attorney with
wow.
them, right? And so there's these things that they don't get, and everything comes at crisis time. So a lot of times when I market to people, I like to market to them with information, letting them know not just, hey, this is what we can do, but you need to make sure that you check all these boxes, right? Like you look for red flags. And I like to talk about empowering them because I think a lot of times people think in the senior advising world, especially because there's some really big competitors out there, and they're really call centers. A lot of them are call centers and they're like, here's a list, right? I think in this day and age, a lot of people that are adult children, they have full-time jobs, they have young kids, they're trying to take care of their parents. It's the sandwich generation. And
Right.
so that generation, they're so overwhelmed, they don't know what to do. So knowing that you can call an advisor like me and you can literally say, hey, this is what I need. And then the next day, I can send them all their options with their pricing. And then they tell me what they want to see. I schedule all the appointments. We go together and then we can have somebody placed within a week and they
Wow.
barely had to do anything. So that's just making their lives simple and marketing that way, and then also empowering them to know information they need to know. That's the big way that I market through a lot of social media is how
Yeah.
I do it.
Yeah.
And postcards. I actually do postcards, physical postcards in the mail I send
Wow.
because a lot of people don't get mail anymore. So when you think about it, if you get a postcard, you almost have to look at it now. You don't get anything in the mail anymore. I don't. When I get a postcard, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
I need to look at it because I don't get anything anymore. Right.
Yeah. Wow. No, I can see that organic content being so king in something like this because you're right. There's a severe lack of information about the benefits that people can get, but also just like what to do, what to look for. And I think when in a situation like this where there isn't a lot of knowledge, when you empower people to make those decisions themselves and have and arm them with the information, then you're the natural next step for them to go to. Cool, now I know I can do it myself. I just would rather have Don do it. And
Yeah.
that's where I think organic content is becoming bigger and bigger. I love that you're on TikTok. That's awesome. You're starting to see a little bit more platform aging, meaning that people are getting on TikTok these days are a little bit older. They're getting to that adult child looking for their parents' care. And so that's really cool. Now, I know that there's bigger companies that do what you do, right? And what like you emphasize, obviously from your end, you emphasize a hands-on personalized approach, but what specific advantages do independent senior advisors like yourself offer that big agencies like can't match?
We're boots on the ground, 100%. Like we're actually in the places that we suggest. I can tell you that the independent people that I've talked to and that I work alongside, we're all in it, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of these places that are our big competitors, they're literally just sending referrals over to these places. And when somebody calls into these places, they literally put their name and number in there, and then they get a million calls over and over for up to 2 years. I'm not even kidding. For 2 years, you will be harassed. We don't do that. Somebody calls me, I don't call them, right? They call me, they give me all their information, and I do all the work for them. I don't send them a list unless I've been there. I don't harass them. It's really a personalized experience for them. I feel everything that they feel, right? Because I've been through it with my own family. And so I tell them my personal story. They are my family by the end. I'm not a call center. When they call me on my direct cell phone, I might have a kid in the background, so they can definitely relate. I just had a client that put their first deposit down and she called and said, I cried the whole time. And it's to have a client do that and know that they are vulnerable enough to say, hey, this is how I felt is special. I have clients that I've placed 8 months ago that still call me and ask for advice, right? That you can't do that. You can't call one of those call centers and say, hey, now that my grandma is here, I'm having this problem. What do I do now? They still call me 8 months later and say, hey, what happened? What can I do? How can I fix this? And it's an all around approach, right? Like you're constantly there and they know that they have somebody there as their advocate no matter what. So
Yeah.
I can run in and see their grandparent or parent if they need me to. I can do whatever. I can be in meetings. Like those other places don't have that personalized approach that independents do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Wow. I love that. That's awesome. And definitely a benefit, a clear benefit of going to somebody like yourself rather than one of these big corporations. And so I wanted to talk about funeral planning because it's an aspect of your service that many people probably shy away from discussing. But how do you approach this topic with families in a way that brings them peace rather than discomfort?
yeah, it's one of those things that, of course, nobody wants to talk about end of life. And I found this because when my dad passed, him and my mom never talked about it. And so when he passed, my mom's, I don't know what he wanted. None of us did, so we just assumed. And it opened up a big conversation. My husband and I finally sat down and I said, "What do you want? What do I want?" And nobody talks about it because it's such a terrible topic, but it's so important. And my clients get to know me from the beginning, right? Before they're placed. And then we get to know each other, their family, and then we work together, right? And so by the end, when something happens, I work with people in the funeral industry that really are, I really pick who I work with. And they're really like family, right? So they treat my families like family. The one thing I noticed when I did plan a funeral is that you go to the funeral home and you really think that everything's going to be done for you and it's not, right? And so it's such a terrible time. It's not like planning a wedding where it's fun or a baby shower. This is really pick out your urn or your casket, cremated, buried, and then you turn around and it's okay if you want flowers. Here's the name of a florist. Here's the name of a place you can go pick out, go
Yeah.
figure out the food. And it's, you just want to be done with it. You don't want to deal with it. So my thought was, hey, I can do this for people, right? I can do all of this stuff so you don't have to worry about it. I know your loved one because I was there when they were placed in memory care or assisted living. I know all the things they love. I dropped off a bag with their favorite stuff when they moved in. So I know that at their funeral or their celebration of life, like if they loved brownies, we're going to have brownies, right? If they love the color purple, everything's going to be purple. So it's a way to really personalize things. And coming from my past life and product development, being able to design something and make something really special that the family can walk in without the stress of having to actually do it themselves because it's no fun. You just want it done and over with. But to be able to walk in and say, wow, this, you really knew my person and this really felt like them, and they can just celebrate the life of that person. That's the most important part. It's such a stressful, terrible time for people, no matter, even if you were expecting it, you're not, right? So to be able to do that and have good partners that I can work with, but be able to do all those little details for people, I think is really a special ending to what we started, right? From the placement or the in-home care to the end part.
Right. Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I keep saying that, but yeah, everything that you provide is such a valuable service in so many ways. Don, this has been great. I've loved hearing your story. It's a story of, like I said, passion, and I can tell that you really love what you do. Where can people learn more about you, and where can people learn more about your company?
I have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, TikTok, as we talked about, and my website. So it's www.gracefultransitionsadvising.com. So you can come and you can go and see me there at my website, and it has all reviews from my clients. There's also Google reviews out there, so you can see. But TikTok, my videos, while they're not that exciting, they're there. So I'm working on it. But yeah, you come see our website and everything.
That's great. I'll have everything linked in the show notes below. But Don, thank you again so much for being on. This was great.